Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to an unboxing for some Zombicide / XE Creator products from 3D upgrades. So, if you've probably seen from the video, they have some walls for Zombicide. This is from Chico's 3D. I might be saying that wrong. This they didn't have a lot of extra picture flashy stuff on there, but this creator makes a bunch of 3D stuff for Zombicide. I only ordered the walls because I just wanted to see what they look like. I've been looking for something that's looked like some really cool product, but they also make 3D cars if you like some of those. They have a lot of different doors, spawn points, a helicopter, so a lot of cool stuff for the Zombicide. So it might be worth checking out. But today we're only going to look at the walls. So here I kind of have a setup of one of the walls on the board. Now, when you order these from them, they come in several different sizes. So I got the XL size, which covers, this is how many you're going to get of each. And it covers, and sorry for using little pictures here, but I thought this is easier than trying to keep resetting the board over and over. But yeah, it covers a decent amount of 9 tiles. Now, I am going to note this right off the bat. This is not going to cover every single setup for every single Zombicide. I tried taking the tiles from just the core game, classic core Zombicide, and the thing is, because all of them are basically long buildings like this, or they're the U-shaped buildings, there's not enough in even the XL, which is the biggest pack that this XE Creator sells, to cover every single space. So if you want to have like full 100% customization, be able to do any single mix and match of every single different map, you're going to need to buy multiple of the biggest sets out there, or at least multiple of the sets. So just a heads up on that. There's a larger size, which has each one just has less pieces of each. And there's option to buy the other color doors. So this one did come with the green and blue. There's option to buy those separately. But this covers about 6 tiles. But it gets you some of the curves for but those are not in the modern or the classic Zombicide base game. They are found in some of the expansions. So it's also, again, it's covering several of the different sets. We get medium, just a couple less, covers a decent amount of 4 tiles. And then small covers about a 2 tile set. So, I mean, if you're really trying to play, you're almost going to have to get at least the biggest one, bare minimum. But then at least you can play. But if you're playing some of the biggest 9 tiles, they're going to be hard to use. So, as you can see, I have a big, giant building set up. I have a couple of doors on there. The doors are really neat. So, actually, should get a closer look at one of these. Yeah, it's got a little door there. They just slide in and out very easily, so you can just... Now, how do the actual things work? They have little inserts on the side, so they slide one direction. You can have them facing this way, you can have things facing this way. It just depends on how you want to have your situation done. We have like a big piece of a wall here, and then just, sometimes a little tough, but it's probably the first time they slide together. They slide together, and you got a decent wall sitting there. And I'm going to take this out. It pops out really either way. Now, again, it's going a little bit, harder. We can throw it back in this way if we want. And go on the other side. Or you can have the walls like this. Some of them have different designs on each one, which is really neat. So just being all the same and generic. So you can get the long wall pieces. You get the short doors. And then we have corner pieces here. I'm going to pop some of these out so we can take a little bit better look at them. We do get some corner pieces. Now, the corner pieces don't have as much design on them, unfortunately. Where the rest look like bricks. These kind of look pretty generic-y. Then the fourth type we have are small walls. Which are going to be little ones. So small wall, if I can have a full wall, let's take a look. Again, a little bit sticky first time, I'm sure, as you move them around. So it's going to be it's a half wall. So it takes place both, but usually what happens is if you have a door and a small wall, it ends up being the same length. So it kind of makes up for each other. So whenever you put a door in, you'll probably put a small wall in there to equal up the length back up. So guys, we can see on that side, I do have a doorway over there, and I have a door and a small one to kind of cover it. And then on this other side here, I just have long one door. So you can have one door in each area, and it's probably fine. Or you can have 3 long walls. Seems to work as well, depending on which side you're doing. It's like these 2 sides, each had 3 walls. But if I were to put a door in here, I'd have to do a door and a small piece. So this kind of depends on the length. And now these are only designed really for like the outside, not the inside. So like once your survivors get inside and you spawn, you still have to pay attention to the walls inside. I don't know if I would necessarily want walls in every little spot there, because it does kind of make that a little bit harder to move around, especially when you start getting swarms of zombies. But there is that. So there's a decent amount, different combinations you can do. So let's take a look at a different one we did. I'm just gonna shove these 4 tiles up. And I just did a big giant room. But another example we have is just a little single room. And you could put a door on either side there. But again, that's another option. And then, hey, we entered the room. You can take the door out. Now the door's gone. You'll drop it back in. Yeah, so that's definitely another way you can do it, and that just covers this small little square there. So that is another option that we have. Yeah, I'm not going to go through every single option on every single board. You can kind of get the idea. So here's the thing: is I had all these other things built. I didn't have enough corner pieces to also do this, and this is why I said you may end up needing to order more than one. But this could be your U-boat. We have a door there. We have a door here. Or I could put a small wall there. I had to get rid of... I didn't have enough small walls to put one there. Then again, you might want to put more doors in areas depending on how big they are. Most areas have about 2. So there are some different options there. Now, the one thing I did want to show off that was... I have not showed off this piece yet. Is I do want to show off the corner pieces. Or the rounds. So we do have some round pieces here, but here's where I kind of ran into an issue with this design. So here I have my building here. If I line this up along kind of the edge of the curb, it does fit nicely there. You know, I can drop more walls in here if I wanted to. But here's the issue. So if I put this wall here, it doesn't reach that corner. And then here's the other issue. See a bunch of this room? So I'm cutting off a bunch of this room. And actually, if I slide this back so it's kind of matching the room again, right, that's not meeting that. I might be able to fix that with a small piece. Let's find out. Let's make sure we have it the right direction. Oop. So should I put that there? Now, you can kind of see there, it does sort of cover enough of the curb, so it doesn't look too bad, but we got this one as an issue here. Having this corner going into a curb, it doesn't really work. What they almost want you to do is basically like this, is have the round right there, but then this isn't going to line up. And again, I should actually be pulling this back, so it actually needs like a special little piece there. But again, if you put a wall in here, it's not going to go that way. They almost needed to make like I don't even know how you would do that, because it has to be like one of these wall pieces almost needs to like then extend this direction, so it needs to be like this, so you could attach a small piece in between the two. Is almost how it needed to be. Is some of the walls needed to be on both sides, and one needed to have a spot off to the side. But it's what it is. So even if I had to design this building like this, just so I'd have these walls, you know, your guys would be in here doing this. But then we have the same kind of issue right here. Just again, this is the way one of these boards are designed. Just technically, we would want to have a wall like that as well. As they're kind of going to butt up like that. And, you know, you can have a door, a small wall there. To keep it, so someone could go into this room, but then you could classify that as being all inside in there. But this is an indoor hallway, so you might not build one in there. But yes, you're going to come through here. You can exit through there. So it's just a little bit of different design. So the other one I did want to show off as well is might be tricky with some of these would be something like this piece right here. Because technically the way this goes, it goes wall, angled wall, corner, this. So like you could put a corner piece here, but you're not going to have anything that's going to attach the other directions. So like that's not going to really work. A long wall could go like that. So like, yeah, we get some of these funky tiles that are a little bit different on a few of the sets. These walls aren't going to work exactly right. But again, it would be weird. It's the thing is you make special pieces specifically for those 2 or 3 instances. This might be another one that might be tricky where there's a hole in here, and this is an outside type wall. So I guess probably you do is just run straight walls all the way across, and you wouldn't worry about having anything right there. And then just call that a hole and just ignore those little spots. But that's just something that might kind of come up. Again, this is another one where you're trying to build the walls here. I'm going to set this down here so I don't have to hold it. But yeah, you could build your short pieces. Let me grab some of these pieces. Kind of take a look at how this will work. So you could build those like that for that, but then now you run into the part of how do you do these corners here. I mean, if you backed it up a bit, I suppose you could do is you could have another set of small pieces in here like this. So it is doable, but the thing is every time you get one of these oddball shapes like this then is, I don't have another small piece, but if I threw another door, for example, there, probably if I put it there, oh yes, now I got these doors the wrong way. But yeah, so you can put a door in there, you could figure it out. But yeah, then you're going to have 4 of your corners tied up right in this spot. Not much different than having that square, which is where I just took this from. But then you're going to run out of tiles quicker every time you're not doing the big long stretches of buildings. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're looking at these, they're definitely really cool. But Zach, we kind of look at this picture here of them showing off the 9 tile. The 9 tiles, right? You have 1 really long wall, 2 really long walls, 3 really long walls, 4, 5 kind of short ones, and you have like 2 of the smaller ones there. So, and then a bigger one there. So there's not a lot of like twisty and turnies. The only thing you kind of have like, it's sort of there is you have like the 2 corners on the outside edges. They're not connecting to anything. So if you have your corners going off the edge of the board, that's not a big deal. But when you try and connect them to other things into the middle of the map, that's where it might be an issue. Or if you have 4 circles in a row, you're trying to do a circle, but you only get I got 3 of them instead of 2 for whatever reason. But yeah, if you only have 2, you wouldn't be able to make a full circle. And then a little L corner there. So yeah, so just some different things there. Because yeah, if you had 2 of these, and then you had another, so you could make like the circle roundabout in there if you had that, but you have to get, again, potentially another full set to do that. So, yeah, really cool wall designs. I think they're really neat. Just, kind of keep in mind, though, that you might end up needing to have 2 sets of them if you want to cover a lot of the different stuff. And now this is just for stuff looking at classic Zombicide. Modern Zombicide has a little bit different aesthetic because they have like Washington ZZ or Rio Zenero, which have a lot different setups and stuff. Creator actually makes some extra special tiles and stuff for some of those. Like the Washington set for the White House, they have a big special thing to kind of match the curves of the White House, which is really cool. I didn't take a picture of it, but that is an option there. But yeah, no, there's some really neat stuff, but they're not going to cover everything. And if I look at a different Zombicide game, I'm going to grab... Oh, yeah. So, like, here I have, for example, we have the new DC set, which I just happen to have on hand. So we have the buildings, but, like, we have, like, this clock tower. Now, the difference, obviously, if we look at some of these, is the size of them. They might not work for that, because this is how small a square building is in the base one. This is how big it's going to be in there. So, could I still do this? It should work if I get all my corner pieces right. Do we have some long walls? We have a long wall there. And do we have another corner and another small wall? But do I have them the right direction? No. So we have that. So that actually fits very well for the new watchtower spot. Again, I'd probably put a door on the other side. This is the only thing where this may end up being an issue versus modern classic Zombicide versus 2.0 or Deceased or Marvel Zombies, is these guys have doors specifically on the maps. And like this one is specifically in the middle of each tile. So if I put this on there, it's still going to go into that room. And I could put one here, but it won't be in the center tile. So it's not that big of a deal there. But it is something to keep an eye on, is that they might not always line up. The same thing here is we have this L shape. So we have the L shape from the other set. So now if I put this one on here, it's not big enough. I'm going to have to add an extra piece in here. Because they're a little bit wider. So now here's the thing we're going to, again, here's one of the things we're going to run into an issue with being designed for one set versus another. Is I dropped this in here. It's actually going to be a little bit bigger than the outside of that tile. Then where the issue is, I'm supposed to have a door right there. Okay, it goes into that room. Again, not in the exact spot. But this one I need in that center room. It's there, but it's not exactly. So this doesn't match exactly for the newer, modern-sized ones. You know, and that's just what's going to happen with that. It wasn't you can't design it when they keep changing your boards. And then we have stuff like the Bat Cave and stuff, for example, which are going to make things a little bit trickier. So, like, this here is that technically your outside border would just be these walls right here, and you'd probably just have to leave a gap in there. So, like, if I was going to run walls, it's like, you know, obviously you have more if you have more on the other side, but if you're only playing with just one tile, it's really like corner here, wall there, wall there. So you'd have to have, like, a bunch of little corners in here, stuff like this. You have to do one on the other side. You know, I have a door on here, but, you know, like one like down there, and you have to have basically like 4 corners in here. So you could do it again, but a lot more twists and turns. It's not going to do it. Plus, aesthetically, is the other thing that's going to happen, is that these are outside wall tiles, like bricks. So they're not going to necessarily make as much sense if you're putting them inside for the Bat Cave. They might seem weird if you're doing them on, like, you know, inside the, like, around the X-Mansion or something. They might seem weird. Some of the other things, you're playing 2.0 and you're doing, like, the boat. Obviously, I mean, brick tiles on the boat doesn't make sense. But, again, it's that, or you're buying a set of specific walls for every single game. All right, I'm going to do a quick pause. I want to set this up with some zombies so we can see how it looks with a bunch of zombies on the board. All right, so I repopulated the board. Now, I did a 6 grid tile instead of the 9, which I said a bigger set should cover all that. But I did a little bit differently than what they had. But yeah, you can kind of see how crazy this now looks when you get a lot of zombies in there. And this is why I really like the aesthetic of having walls. Because I think it kind of makes the game feel like a little bit more encaged, like you're being, like, attacked. So here I did a little bit different, is I did the mall over here. So I have open doors where each one of the shops are. Normally it's inside of a building, so you wouldn't have to necessarily use walls. But you can even just picture if this was the street zone and this was just another building. Same exact concept. I just had mall tiles sitting here, so I did that. But you can see, like, yeah, you feel like a little bit more encapsulated when there's 5 zombies, 6 zombies sitting in one area. It gets a little bit more crowded. You know, like you can see, like, oh, there's the Abomination. Oh, he definitely does look intimidating. But yeah, we have some different holes here. I have the green and blue doors in there. Like, I don't have objective tokens or any of that on the board right now. But you can see I have where my survivors are. We have some birds on there. We have all the different size zombies. But yeah, just kind of like is a aesthetic here. If you look at, like, right here, we have all this where it looks very congested. Zombies are like, oh, these guys are kind of free here. You see this way's open. Ooh, this way's really crowded. But if I just did this, so I'm going to just, if I pop this off, and I pop this one off, the 2 big ones, and now we don't have anything on the board here for this half. There's zombies there, you can tell. But, like, I don't feel as intimidated, I guess. It was how I feel, because it feels like, I mean, one hand, you still see all the zombies, right? But the other thing also, I guess, might even help some players, is that I know that before, I had a wall here. So, like, I knew that I don't have to worry about these guys directly attacking me. So, again, if I set this one back down, all of a sudden now I have, like, oh, okay, I just have to deal with, these guys can deal with these. I have to deal with, there's doors here. Obviously, they can walk through there. But you don't feel like, oh, they're right next to me. Well, they are, but they aren't. And the same thing is, and if you drop this one back in, now this guy feels like he only has to deal with these guys instead of having to deal with all of them. It's easy enough to move the guys. Now, again, this will be one of these things where if you have, you're spawning 10, 12 different zombies in the same area, they're going to start to run out of room, but you were already going to be doing that again. These walls are a little bit thick, so they do take up some room. So they do take up a little bit more room than the border, so it's going to close it in a little bit more. So yeah, are there different creators and different people out there that make walls? Absolutely. Different options you can pick up. I just thought these are really cool. I do like them. I might look at getting some more, but again, I feel like I'm going to have to almost buy another set. But the creator also does make stuff for, like, fantasy and invader. And again, he makes, like, the cars and some tokens and all this. It's one of these things where I'm going to have to look at if I really want to get all that and all that extra stuff, because it is fairly expensive. To order, like, multiple sets of all these Brawler games. But there's no reason why you couldn't pick these up, play these with Invader or that, using the same thing. Does a little bit of aesthetic there. A little break of the aesthetic, but that's what happens. The last thing I want to show off, or I want to look at, and I haven't even looked at this myself, is I did have, from another Etsy creator, I had some 3D objects for marble zombies and stuff. But yes, we have something like, if I had a crate in here, like a 3D token, that doesn't look too bad. If I wanted to see what my 3D doors, so we have these 3D doors. They're the same size as the ones you get if CMON makes and everything. So if I could technically pull one of these doors out of here. Easier said than done, right? Just I'm playing with the corners, so there's not a lot of room, and I don't really want to break them. Which I did. This is why you gotta be careful not to do it. I just snapped one of my doors in half. Because that's where the door would have slid in there. So, like, so, yeah, a little bit tight. I snapped one of them off. These aren't the easiest plastics to use. I'm not going to say that's not on the design of these. They are a little bit tight, I feel. You can see how they were scraping like that. So, but again, you don't also want them so loose that they're just snapping out. But I think some of them may have just gotten some pieces may have gotten a little bit tighter than others. So I wanted to see if I did this. See, I have enough room in there I'm gonna zoom down into here. I have enough room. Actually, maybe I'll push this back a little bit, see a little bit easier. I could put my other doors in here. They do stick up, but they do stand out. One, the color helps them make stand out. The thing is, what's going to happen is if I have a second door there, that means I'm going to have 2 free roaming pieces. But that's not even so terrible. To some extent, to have some pieces that are free roaming, you can kind of move them around. But I did like these doors because they have the breakaway feature. But obviously, as soon as you break away the door, you're going to be able to tell right where the door's at anyhow, because there's a big giant gap. So it's kind of a debate. There's like, and that's another thing to look at. Again, this is nothing against the creator of this stuff. His stuff is really cool. I really like this. Overall, it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's like if you already purchased doors, or if you had zombie doors, even from Zombicide, from Simon, or from some other creator or something, they're obviously not going to fit with this. And I also don't believe that the other door the creator makes fit with these doors. They're not replacements for these. He has like stuff for like the malls, the jail cells for Rumor, or for Prison Outbreak, and he has stuff like that. And they don't fit with these walls. They're just single doors like these. So they might set in there, and maybe they're a little bit bigger, so maybe they'll slide in a little bit tighter. But they're not ones that snap in and replace this style of door. So it's another thing to keep in mind. So it might be, do you want these walls? Do you want different walls? No, but that's what we have. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like these, yeah, check out the rest of the product from, Chicos 3D. I will put the link in the description. See you guys later. Bye.